Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the elite of the elites for the Dawi, as the defenders of the gates of Karak Norn take to the field as the undead approach, as the Dawi face off against the vampire counts, as we have the extraordinary life of Felix leading the Dawi, and we'll have Ice Power leading the vampire counts. Now for the Dawi army, we do have plenty of some elite troops here, as we have 3 hammers in total, one of which is of course the Peak Gate Guard, who do magic damage and armor sundering. So against any of the pesky ethereal units, they'll be a fearsome foe indeed. For the rest of the forces, we do have some dwarf warriors on the flanks, and some miners with blasting charges in the front. And we do have a pair of Iron Drakes as well to be roasting some of those pesky undead forces. But for the hero squad, we do have Grombrindal as the Lord. He's going to be bringing the Flash Bomb, as well as Grombrindal has no fear, and the Rune Helm of Zufbar, giving plus 12 leadership in an AoE, and against the undead, it'll be quite helpful indeed to keep everything in that fight. We also do have Felix. He is going to be bringing the Blood Oath, giving a nice little bit of regen to all the heroes in an AoE around him. So definitely having him close to Grombrindal throughout the course of the fight going to be very, very helpful. We also do have a Master Engineer, and it's going to be a little interesting pick, as he is going to be bringing the Entrenchment, so plus 40% armor-piercing missile damage, plus 22% physical resist, but he cannot move, or whatever he uses it on cannot move while that is happening. And the Fiery Ring of Thori, which is the Dawi's Scab's Graith, so they do major magic and fire damage along Teardrape attack as well. We'll see though how he does perform here. It is an interesting pick. Doesn't usually fit the playstyle against the counts, but it can, if he's allowed to just continue firing away throughout the course of the fight, can do quite well. But with how spread out the formation is, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to stay nice and free throughout that. We do also have the Dragonback Slayers in the rear, can be helping protect against any of the large targets cycling in. Now for the vampire counts, we do have a front line of all zombies, but we do have quite a bit of mobility already closing in on the flanks of the Dawi. We have the Lamian Vampire Lord up on her dragon, and she's going to be bringing Seduction, as well as the ability Lightning Reflexes, getting plus 22% speed and plus 22 damage resistance. She also is going to be bringing the Pendulum, Raise Dead, and the Invocation of Nehek. So Pendulum going to be very helpful against the armor, and of course the breath attacks will as well. We do have some Black Knights in the flanks here, and a couple of Felbats cycling overhead to boot, some Dire Wolves in the tree line, and we do have a Vargulf as well going to be coming in from the far side. For the backline infantry, we do have some skeleton warriors with some grave guards with great weapons. We have the Stearnsmen as well, trying to chunk through some of that armor, so they do have some nice armor-piercing damage. But we do have a couple of heroes mixed into the mix, as well as there is the White King going to be bringing Scab's Graith. It is just a bonus versus infantry. It doesn't have the best armor-piercing values, so we'll see how well he's able to kind of perform. But we do also have the Necromancer bringing Master of the Dead, as well as Forbidden Rod, so a little passive healing and plenty of extra winds of magic for that Lamian, who does not have Arcane Conduit. But that White King, as well as the Master Engineer, a little interesting pick, so we'll see if they're able to pay off. Scab's Graith really only going to be semi-helpful against Dragonback Slayers, but they have such a spread-out formation, and Dawi do have innate fire resist anyways, magic resist. And let's get things rolling though, as the Iron Drakes do open up their shots, going right into those zombies. Miners with blasting charges as well, clearing out that chaff very, very quickly. Volleys going in, hitting those grave guards and the zombies, doing a lot of damage off those initial shots. But it is mostly just zombies taking that damage. But otherwise, all the flame going to be just roasting things. We have a nice breath attack going in, going to be hitting quite a few of the Peak Gate Guard, doing a nice little bit of damage to boot. But now the White King, looks like he's going to be taking a punch of that fire straight to the face. And Dragonback Slayers, though, going to be rotating around as both of the Felbats do dive down on the Iron Drakes. Going to be trying to peel them off as quickly as they can. And these hammers, though, making quick work of these Felbats. I mean, the Iron Drakes themselves, they have 125 armor, so those Felbats are hardly going to be able to put a scratch on them. It is only a temporary respite, but it is going to give enough time for the Dire Wolves to spring their trap and come right out of the forest. But they're going to be jumping on top of that Master Engineer, at least keeping them busy for the time being. But the Miner is going to be breaking very, very quickly on that front line. The Graveguard with great weapons making some quick work of them. And yeah, the miners did not hold up well against the charge of the undead. However, the hammerers, the peak gate guard, and the like going to be holding a little bit better than the rest. As a flash bomb does go off from Grombrindal, as he is going to be hunting that White King, looking to get onto him. He does have minus 24 melee defense and minus 72 speed. So Felix and Grombrindal making very, very quick work of that White King. Not a whole lot. And another breath attack, though, going to be going right into these hammers. So far, very good use of those breath attacks, getting right onto those very elite units. And that White King does fall very, very quickly, and the Lamian going to be diving in on top of that Master Engineer. However, the Master Engineer going to have the support of the Slayers nearby, but the Vargolf also coming in, trying to get some hits in himself. But those Slayers will, for the time being, be able to peel off most of the incoming undead. But the rest of the Black Knights going to be off chasing down those routing miners, making sure nothing returns to the field. And that is definitely the advantage that the Counts will have in this matchup so far, is that mobility, making sure if something does break, very unlikely that it'll be returning, especially at this point in the match. But the Iron Drake's looking to be firing against that Vargolf as it does get out of the range. And if they do get nice and close, they can just completely roast through that HP very, very quickly. But for now, they're going to be electing at going for some of these other closer targets, while the Lamian is going to try and finish off these hammers right now. It's kind of flying overhead, trying to potentially get a terror route here. However, these Grave Guards and the Black Knights seem to be doing all right against them. I mean, they are very, very low on health, but now the Lamian going to be feasting on this Master Engineer, who is well away from any support. Though we do have some Slayers coming in, trying to peel off that Lamian, although they are getting kind of low themselves, but they still have 35 models. They are unbreakable, so that Lamian doesn't want to be sticking around for too much longer, as the Master Engineer does get a few shots into the rear of the escaping Lamian. And the Vargolf now is wrecking havoc, but at point-blank range, another flash bomb goes off, reducing the speed, and in comes the shots from those Iron Drakes, and you can just see that health quickly melting away from that Vargolf, especially with Grombrindal as well attacking it. It is not going to be much longer for this world as it just gets roasted, trying to charge into these Iron Drakes, but with both of those units continuing to fire in, not going to be lasting too long. It is getting very low, and Invocation is going to try and save it, as its innate regen just not quite enough when another flash bomb goes off. And I think that Vargolf isn't going to be too much longer from, and there it goes, disintegrating once and for all, unable to be saved by the Invocation, and it will fall to the ground and be still once more. With the Lamian going to be using her lightning reflexes with that damage resist, flying into the air once again, and this time on top of that Master Engineer, and there is no Slayers around to save him this time, and he is in dire straits indeed, as he is the most likely going to be going down here, as he is no match for a Lamian on her dragon. Taking a hit here. We also have some Graveguard coming in to finish the job, though they are crumbling. Might not even make it with how quickly their models are dropping. But the Master Engineer is going to be routing right now, and that is going to be all for him, as the Direwolves will come to finish the chase, and that Master Engineer will know no more, as that is one less hero for the Lamian to deal with. And another nice breath attack into this grouped up formation of Peak Gate and Dwarf Warriors. Some very nice damage there, but that is its last breath attack. Just going to have to rely on either Pendulums or just Summons to muck things up. The Lamian going to be just cycling in and out at this point. It is pretty much down to just summons. We still have the Necromancer in the tree line. We have some Black Knights as well, trying to finish off the Slayers. There's only 6 of them left. And the Iron Drakes are going to try and pull out so they can get some free shots in. But in comes the charge. So yeah, for the multi-model units, it's just the Black Knights, so there's probably plenty of summons left for that Lamian, as she's going to be charging in. Flash Bomb goes off, slowing down that Lamian once again, as Felix and Grombrindal trying to get some hits into her as she does pull back, but a summon is dropped into the mist to allow her to pull out and just kind of muck things up with the rest of the infantry, keep them occupied with, on something other than her. Flash Bomb finally wears off. She does have an Invocation as well on her, as she'll be pulling on out, jumping into the sky once again and cycling, trying to deal with both of these heroes. It's going to be a little bit of a pain, considering Felix is giving regen to Grombrindal, so getting rid of that regen first is probably going to be the way to go for that Lamian. And the Necromancer still just happy to sit into the tree line. It could be given a little bit of passive regen, but still doesn't want to be getting too close with Grombrindal and Felix both nearby, and a Flash Bomb could quickly seal his fate. There is some more Direwolves returning from their chase of the Master Engineer, and now they're looking for more blood in the water as they circle around looking for anything that can be routing. We do have the Peak Gate Guard is going to be routing, and the Black Knights could very well be able to make sure they are chased off, and we do have some more hammers as well returning to the field. The mobility of the Vampire Count's not quite able to finish chasing everything off, and these dire wolves should very well kind of peel off and try and get rid of this, because even though the Peak Gate Guard are only down to 10 models, he does not want to have to deal with them and their armor sundering values, especially with that Lamian, because the Lamian does have base 70. However, losing any armor at this point would definitely allow Felix and Grombrindal to really put a bit more of a hurt onto that dragon. And now the Black Knights trying to finish off the Dragback Slayers as they do finally discover the Necromancer in the tree line, but the Black Knights themselves are crumbling, only down to 1 model left, and the Slayers do outlast them, though it is down to just 2 of them, and the Necromancer are looking to finish that job. But once again, another summon going to go down into the mix of things. Plenty of Winds of Magic for that Lamian so far in this match, but the Iron Drake's firing right into her backside, getting some nice bit of damage in, and the Hammers as well going to be charging in, trying to deal with these dire wolves, eliminate every last bit of support that Lamian has left, and then they'll only have to deal with the summons as the Necromancer finally does finish the last of the Slayers, as the Lamian once again cycling in, trying to deal with Felix as quickly as she can, though Felix is proving to be a bit resilient foe today, as he is able to take most of those shots, and his melee defense is really kind of what's shining through right now. So he does have, let me take a little looky there, so he has 55 base melee defense, and that Lamian with her only 40 melee attack, it has been a little struggling to make any hits, as the charge does come in, but no damage is really taken to Felix. He is kicked out of the formation. Another summon trying to keep all of the support away, so she does have a little bit of one-on-one trying to finish off Felix, but once again she will take to the air as Felix is able to once again repel, and he is charging back in, trying to get back to Grombrindal. And he is going to take, though, a few hits this time round, as that dragon is going to able to eliminate a few more of the support that the Dawi have this time, as the Dwarf Warriors getting a little close to wavering themselves, and the Necromancer actually able to shatter the Peak Gate Guard, as they do finally break from the field once and for all. So little by little, the Dawi are getting broken down, and Felix is continuing to take more and more damage, though his innate regeneration with that Blood Oath with him and Grombrindal is making him a lot harder to deal with, though the Lamian is still sitting nice and healthy. Balance power is a little bit in the Vampire Count's favor, solely because of the dragon at this point. Though one of the Iron Drakes is able to be broken on the charge here, and the zombies slowly getting low as they start to crumble bit by bit. But it is still going to allow that Lamian to continue cycling charge against Felix and Grombrindal as long as they do exist. And she's only used probably a few summons so far, so there's still going to be some, but a Flash Bomb right on the charge, going to be keeping that Lamian occupied, especially with Grombrindal and Felix so close by, but Felix is getting very low himself. He is terrified at this point, as he gets very low in leadership, and the Lamian is going to be able to chase him down, get a nice little hit into the rear, and it's probably going to be enough to break him, and another hit does get him very, very low, and he does lay down and rises no more. And now it is going to be Grombrindal versus the Lamian, and there is going to be a few Iron Drakes left, but for the most part, they aren't going to be able to save Grombrindal, as he is going to have to duel the Lamian one-on-one for the most part, as there is going to be that Lamian trying to break these Iron Drakes, get rid of every little ounce of support that the Dawi have left. And another summon is going to be coming down right into the middle of things, as the Flash Bomb also goes off, slowing that Lamian down, and Grombrindal going to be getting some hits as she does try and retreat from the field from the battle here. And once those Iron Drakes do return or decide to come back to the fight here, they have quite a bit of ammunition left, and it is still 8 models. Provide a nice little bit of chaff clearing, either get rid of the zombies very, very quickly, forcing that Lamian to potentially have to stay in this engagement, or also provide just less chaff for Grombrindal to really have to worry about. They're not going to be doing any damage to him, but it's more of a distraction than anything else. And the Lamian, once again, will try and pull out, but will Grombrindal be able to get an attack in? Does not look like he will, as the Lamian is able to escape to the sky once again, and cycle around for another charge right into the middle of her zombies, getting a nice little hit in the process, and Grombrindal is going to be starting to take that damage this time for real, as he has lost Felix, so his regen is gone, and bounce power a little bit more in the favor of the Counts at this point. But now the Iron Drakes have been discovered once again, and in they come. So going to start raining some fire into all of these zombies, and eventually also going to be targeting the Lamian as well. Very large target, kind of hard to miss that one. But Grombrindal definitely going to be a little bit in dire straits here. Lamian swinging her tail to and fro, and going to be getting some nice little hits in. Foe Seeker is going to be popped by Grombrindal, giving himself a nice little bit of extra vigor to kind of offset how long he's been fighting so far. He is very tired himself, so any amount of vigor will definitely help in these engagements. And the Lamian going to be coming on in, but taking a ton of fire from those Iron Drakes. And at this point, but a flash bomb goes off just as the zombies are about to disintegrate. But in response, there is once again another summon of zombies to keep Grombrindal occupied. And this Lamian really should maybe try and deal with these Iron Drakes at this point. Don't want to be allowing those shots for free. Now that Grombrindal is dealing with the zombies, in comes the Lamian to charge in. A little dodge there, but in comes the charge. Iron Drakes terrified immediately, and they are going to be losing most of their models. Only 3 of them left, but they are still just terrified. They haven't been broken yet completely, as they will be returning eventually, as they are back once again to kind of come in and rain some hot fire down onto the Lamian, though they are a lot less models than before. There is still some left, as seduction is being used on Grombrindal. Going to be slowing him down, giving himself a little less melee attack, and the Lamian will once again cycle around in, get a nice little charge in, unable to hit Grombrindal. That time she does get a nice little hit in, and slowly whittling down Grombrindal, but the Lamian herself is getting very, very low. She is at her healing cap, or very, very close to it, and this time the Necromancer, like the Slayers before, going to be charging in at those Iron Drakes, and the Iron Drakes do rout at his mere presence, and that should be the last that the Counts have to worry about them. But Invocation going to be used on the Lamian, probably signaling that this is the last summon that she has available to her. Otherwise, those Winds of Magic would most likely be saved for those. A nice little charge in the end, trying to finish off Grombrindal. Balance of power is going in the Dwarven favor at this point, as it gets very, very nice hits in against that Lamian. And once again, going to try and cycle around, but once these zombies are gone, that's just going to make it all the much easier for Grombrindal to land the hits needed, as another flash bomb goes, should allow Grombrindal to get another hit or two. Swings and does connect there by the looks of things, but another hit would probably finish off the Lamian at this point. The Necromancer himself getting in, trying to do some damage, but man, just a single blow from Grombrindal doing a ton of damage, but some nice couple of hits though from the Lamian might be enough. Another beautiful hit, and Grombrindal is getting very, very low, but the Lamian is crumbling and does disintegrate just as Grombrindal gets so very low. Grombrindal was another hit or two from going down himself. A few lucky swings in the end, almost enough to bring the Counts back into it. But Grombrindal going to be a little too angry to die here, as he does pull through for the Dawi. So let's take a little look at the after battle report, as we do have the Lamian Vampire Lord racking up the value this game, getting 5,400, finishing off each of the 3 heroes, getting some beautiful breath attacks in and some pendulums as well onto all of the hammerers, doing a ton of damage to them. The Necromancer sitting in the trees for the entire match, using his Forbidden Rod to pretty much just allow the Lamian to get all of her summons off, use pendulums as well, because normally if you bring the Lamian and you're using pendulums at all, you're not as likely to get as much healing or as summons off as you normally would, but with that Forbidden Rod, it was allowed to be a lot more free with those Winds of Magic. White King, as I kind of expected, really didn't do all too well. Only got 300 in value. The lack of armor piercing, I think, kind of hurts that White King in this matchup a bit, especially when Grombrindal and Felix both kind of goon up on him, taking him down very, very quickly. Zombies doing as zombies do, not a whole lot of kills their way. The Great Guard with great weapons, on the other hand, doing okay work. Stern's been lacking a bit of armor piercing, unable to really kind of punch through most of that Dawi armor. Mobility themselves, I think, was used semi-decently. I mean, the Fellbats, I think, were kind of wasted here. They should have just been used to chase things off that routed, much like how kind of the Black Knights were and the Dire Wolves, because they just dive down onto the Iron Drakes very early on, and they're not going to do anything to 125 armor. I think maybe they're hoping they could follow up with another charge, either from the Lamian, from the Black Knights, try and break them down pretty quickly. But with that kind of armor, it's kind of really hard to do. Vargulf itself getting roasted by those Iron Drakes at point-blank range, taking a ton of damage in the process. And as for the Dawi side, Iron Drakes doing very well, 2,300 on that one, 900 on the other. Definitely getting a ton of value with some of that chaff clearing. Rest of the forces doing okay themselves. Miners got broken very, very quickly, and they used most of their ammo on zombies themselves. While it was good to kind of clear out that chaff as quickly as they could, it wasn't necessarily the most cost-effective use of their ammunition. Slayers did very well on top of that, though. Against like the Black Knight charges, keeping the Lamian at least honest for the initial parts of the matches. But the Hammers, while getting a ton of kills, really didn't get all the value that they cost. Mainly because, I mean, the breath attacks and the pendulums were so on point for the Lamian. Just was able to break them so very effectively, and you can see that in her value anyways. But Felix getting 520, Master Engineer, as I was kind of saying before, not really the best pick in the world, but at least having the three heroes kind of made that Lamian have to kind of wait for to attack Grombrindal at the end, mainly because of Felix and his regen that he was giving him. But Grombrindal himself, 4,700, taking down the dragon from full, as well as the full healing cap of that HP pool on that Lamian. So a ton of damage there, as well as killing the White King. He did a lot of heavy lifting for the Dawi, carrying the team on his back. But a very fun match, and a dwarf just too angry to die carries the day against the Counts. But that's all I have for you today. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.